Hello, everybody. Welcome. NLL Lacrosse Talk. It's always lacrosse here for sure. I'm Candid Frank Stanisci. He's Gary Groob, and we have a very special guest, Connor Kearnan, Ottawa Black Bears of the NLL, Brooklin Lacrosse, and the MSL. He's a coach of the Queens Gales. I guess the first question we always ask, and Connor, I assume your answer is going to be different than anybody else's. That's sarcasm, by the way. Because it wouldn't be surprising. A lot of people have the same story, so don't feel bad about your answer. How did you pick up the stick?
Yeah, well, I mean, first of all, thanks for having me, fellas. Happy beer. I know it's been a few weeks coming, so happy to get on with you guys and chat some lacrosse. But for me, getting into lacrosse, picking up the first time I picked up the stick was, I think I was 5 or 6. I think I was 5, just turning 6, and then I was in my parents' garage and I saw, I guess, a lacrosse stick, and ended up being my dad's old high school one. I picked it up, was messing around with it. And the next thing you know, I was signed up for lacrosse, and rest was history. Made the first rep team there in Clarendon that very first year, first time they ever even introduced it. I think we were like D or something like that. But yeah, the rest has been history after that.
What has kept you in it?
I don't know, it's been different throughout the years for sure, I imagine, but like obviously just the pure love for it. Now like obviously life gets busy and lots of stuff ongoing in everyone's lives, and for me it's kind of just an escape. It's what I think about when I'm bored, and if I'm driving on a long drive, it's kind of what's always on my mind. It's kind of just everything. It's as corny as that sounds. I just absolutely love it, and it's I guess my safe place, so it's fun.
Good enough answer for me.
Absolutely. Let's talk about the earliest moments of your development. Who would be most responsible for your development?
I mean, my parents were both fantastic, very, very supportive, even to this day. Obviously, my dad, picked up his stick, he played, and then once I got into it, he started coaching as well. He coached me, both hockey and lacrosse all the way up. So he was obviously very, very influential. Then I had my first true head coach that really kind of broke it down for me and really started teaching me the basics and fundamentals of the game was Harold Hoare. His son Stephen Hoare used to play for the Rochester Rattlers, and I think he played for Brooklyn Senior A, Peterborough Senior A, a couple NLL teams as well. So his dad though, Harold, Coach Hoare, he was awesome. Really good at teaching the fundamentals, the point of lacrosse, things like that. As I progressed, when I got to junior A, I saw a real big skill difference or mindset in learning the game as a whole, and I was being coached by Coach K, Connor Kearnan from Saskatchewan. I'm sure many people have said it. He's one of the best coaches in our game. Proven track record. I'm living proof of that. I honestly didn't know proper picks, how to space it, keep your feet moving, slips, all of that. Catching the ball, looking middle always. That's ingrained in my brain now, and that's all from Coach K. He was awesome. And then coaches here and there all throughout the years, like Mark Burton, an edge coach of mine for field, Coach Ray at St. Joe's, Coach Mearns at Canisius, he was fantastic. Really let me be my creative self. He's a great guy himself as well. Definitely knows how to keep it loose, which is exactly kind of how I am. I'm sure if you see my social media or anything like that, it's exactly to keep things fun, loving, and loose for sure, and have fun with it. So there's been a bunch, but for sure in terms of development as a whole and getting my game to the next level, I would probably have to go to Coach K.
Right. You're talking about keeping it light. I want to bring up the one thing before it jumps out of my mind is you and Pac Regwar doing the the interview deal, which is just absolutely classic.
Yeah.
The idea between you and Pat on that one, that was classic, absolutely brilliant.
It was neither of us. It was someone came up with the idea. Obviously, we're like as New York, we were playing in Montreal, and they want to do publicity stuff and like that. And again, I think me being like the loose, lightheaded, and likes to have fun with it. I think I just kind of ended up being one of the candidates being chosen for it. And then Greggy, obviously, he's a great guy and he likes to have fun too and mess around. And I think like I don't know who I forget the person's name from the NLL. He's part of the media team. He approached us with like the idea to do the slap shot rendition or whatever. And he had asked him, "Hey, would you be interested in doing it?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And I think the same thing happened with Greggy. We both, again, think it's hilarious, like having fun. So we both said, "Yeah." I was actually a fun little tidbit on that is I was supposed to. They originally asked me to do my part in the French accent, and you kind of hear it come out because like I had practiced like 3 weeks leading up to it, like practicing a French accent, and and then I got there like, yeah, we're gonna pull the accent. I don't know if like it will be well received, kind of thing. I'm like, oh well, I've been practicing all these lines and scripts and stuff with French accent, so you kind of hear it trickle in here and there. But no, that was a great little skit. A lot of people loved it. Yeah, it was fun. Greggy's awesome too. Because I think I've done the tic-tac-toe with him as well in NLL. So
Yeah, I
he's
think I was at
definitely.
one of the Brooklyn games, and I think your uncle was playing it for me up in the on the bar. And it was just like bringing me back. It was hilarious. So
I can imagine.
I loved it from the time I saw it the first time to even that time. It was I love the movie.
Oh, I'm
so
glad.
That's good.
Good.
Your number 92. I had Brady on, and we were talking about the importance of the numbers, and he has 93 to be one better than you, and all the other jokes that were in there. How did we get to the number 92? Where'd that come from?
Yeah, well, I was number 10 growing up, all minor, loved it, and then St. Joseph's, my first year of college, we weren't allowed to. We didn't pick numbers. We just kind of showed up and they hand you numbers. I was handed like number 5. I guess all the Americans love the 1-digit numbers. I don't know why. I hated number 5. Like despised it. Hated not being able to choose. So then I transferred to Canisius, and number 10 was taken by who ended up being one of my roommates. Number 29 was taken. That was my other kind of number. 29 was my dad's number. And 11 is like a family number that we have. So
Right.
11 was also taken by one of my roommates when I transferred in. So 11, like the importance, it's not to get off topic, but it's like a family number. It's something that my dad, my brother, my mom, and I we kind of like related to my grandma on my dad's side and my dad's mom. My dad's birthday's September 11th, 9/11. My mom's birthday's November 9th, 11/9.
Right.
Everything seems to happen in 11s. When she passed away, we started seeing 11s on the clock everywhere. Like 9/11, 11/11, just like random. And then she started kind of associating it with my grandma and her, like, kind of being there. So 11 became the family number. 29, 2 plus 9 is 11. So I couldn't get any of those numbers. So my aunt, my mom's sister is actually the one that suggested, why don't you go 92? Like 9 plus 2 is still 11. 29 is reversed. Oh yeah, okay, that's pretty cool. 92 is a pretty swaggy number, I thought too. I'm like, yeah, okay, we'll go with that. And so now it's 92, and I didn't get it in San Diego when I first joined the league of Frankie Chiliano being there and having it, but yeah, 29 has been the number. I have 11 on my chain. I got 11 tattooed on my arm,
Right.
So that's significance there for sure.
Cool. Very good. Now, growing up in Clarington, and you had a chance to play with some of the greatest storied organizations. You started with Gales in Junior B in 2013. Let's talk about, first of all, knowing the history of who you're playing for and some of the other, guys who came before you, and what it was like to join these organizations.
Yeah, I've been lucky in that sense. Obviously, Clarington and Whitby are great minor organizations, but then they feed into a great junior system. Even the junior C programs are fantastic. When I was, before joining junior ranks, like the junior C Shamrocks and the junior C Warriors were competing every year for the Meredith Cup, so that was always great. Pure rivalry there, and then they feed into the junior B team. Junior B team, as we're all aware, is very, very storied, very, very historic. It was pretty cool getting to go. Like you go there growing up at Rickard Arena, going to watch them.
Mm-hmm.
My dad taking me and my buddies to go watch games, hopping on the floor, intermission, things like that. Like, it was pretty cool. And then when I, like, the first year, I didn't even think about like, that I was going to make it or anything, and then ended up making the team. And again, just the group of guys, like, they do a great job of making like a family feel. They're saying FHPT, Family Honor Pride Tradition, and they do truly stand by it. So it was awesome, honestly. Great first junior experience. I did get scratched a bunch, obviously, in playoffs. Like, we were a top team, so I did get scratched. But even getting scratched, it was honestly a great time. I learned a lot from a lot of the guys, a lot of good players there that were playing Junior B. Because again, the Junior A's were obviously super strong, and the Warriors. And then the next year, I was fully prepared to go back to Junior B. My second year, I didn't even think Junior A was in the realm of possibilities, to be honest. And then I got a text from Greg O'Connor asking me to meet him at the Civic in Oshawa. My buddy, my best friend, Keenan Cook, he got the same one. And like, oh, what does this mean? We didn't think anything. Both of us didn't think anything of it. And we showed up, and they put our player card there and asked us to sign. And next, I was playing for the Warriors, and the Warriors was huge for guys in our area because we, like, again, Keenan's cousin, Chad Tutton and Brody Tutton, used to watch, and the Palmers, grew up with them. Like, go watch all those guys play for the Warriors. Like, they were unbelievable. And the next, we're playing for them. So it's pretty cool, pretty surreal. And then you break it down even further to the Brooklyn. Now you go watch Brooklyn, Sean Williams, Steve Toll, like, some of the greats playing. And you go watch them as a kid, and now I'm playing for them too. So it's a pretty cool experience, honestly.
Right. We talked to a lot of guys from the Peterborough area, also Orangeville area, that it is almost more important to get on with the local Junior A team than even more than getting drafted NLL. Was it the same out in Whitby?
Yeah, I wouldn't. I mean, the NLL is obviously a great accomplishment. They're different in my sense, anyways. But, like, again, getting on with the Warriors, you grow up as like a kid, and you don't, like, you see how, like, obviously you're small, you see how big they are, how good they are, how fast it is. You're like, holy, well, I get to play for them. So, like, honestly, it's pretty comparable. Like, getting, again, when I mean this, like, I didn't think I was ever going to play for the Warriors, and made it my second year, and it was an amazing experience. And so it's definitely a huge honor, and it's definitely right up there. We're getting drafted to the NLL. Obviously, NLL, I would even say, like, Warriors is like that first step, and then the NLL, like, I didn't even think about NLL. Obviously, I wanted to play NLL, but, like, making it there was back in my mind. Warriors was already a long shot, and so I think it's just like steps and stages there. So definitely hand in hand.
What would be the eureka moment that, hey, I can do this for my career?
I think my last year of junior, I had a pretty good junior year, I thought. And then, I went back to school before, like, for Canisius College for my senior year, before I was going to play senior A, or hopefully make senior A. And I think I started getting, like, Stamper started doing, like, Steven Stamper started doing his write-ups.
Yeah.
And then he had me, like, there's a few different writers that had come out, not just him, but a few others, and they had put me in, like, the top 10 to start off. And I was like, oh, well, I didn't think people saw me there. So I think there I was like, okay, like, maybe I can start having some confidence in myself. And then I think from there I was like, yeah, okay, like, this is gonna be my thing, and I want to be in the NLL. I say to everybody who ever asks, I want to play until I can't physically move in the NLL. Like, if I can play till I'm 40, I will. Obviously, body permitting, and making the roster as it gets more competitive every year. But that would probably be the big one when I started. People started I started recognizing that people saw something in me that I maybe didn't see in myself. So,
right. Now, we talked a couple of times about Canisius. And for Mearns, your field career really wasn't. You're a box guy, right? You had some field stuff from high school and stuff, but what was it that, like, hey, I can do field as well?
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, we always do hockey and lacrosse, obviously, in Canada, and then you after your grade minor midget year, you know how it goes. You don't if you're not making it to the OHL, you're pretty much not going anywhere. That's like the mindset. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna focus on lacrosse, and that's when I started focusing on getting a scholarship and traveling, and I started doing edge. And then again, coaches, confirming like, oh wow, like you can go somewhere with this. I'm like, oh okay, great. Ended up committing, and then didn't have a great freshman year, and then sophomore year again, Mearnsey was great with the creativity. That was sort of maybe part of the problem when I was at my St. Joe's my first year. It was more fundamental, more two-way handed style play. We had a Duke midfielder as our offensive coach, who again he was fantastic, but didn't allow for that creativity. Like I was doing a lap for throwing a crippler in practice on the wrong side. I was doing a lap for throwing a BTB and scoring. Like it was just funny that way. And then I came to Canisius, transferred in, and Mearnsey. If you know Mearnsey, I don't need to speak more on that. If you know Mearnsey, he absolutely one of the best guys in the world. He's all about creativity. He's all about having fun, being loose. Played right into my cards, and he was just like, again, I was free to kind of play how I want, and then from there, I just kept getting again with confidence he bestowed in me, and then Coach Miasha came in my senior year, and he was the same way, like Canadian guy, first overall draft pick NLL, I think back in 03. And he was like, yeah, like he bestowed that on me as well. So I was like, okay, I loved field, and I would love to have played some professional on it. Unfortunately, didn't get the opportunity to, or didn't pan out for me. But that was probably the big thing. Was again Mearnsey, starting with Mearnsey, giving me the confidence in the world to be kind of the player who I want to be.
Right. You actually made history too, because you were a part of that first NCAA Division I game here in Canada. Over at the Civic Recreation Complex, Oshawa. Let's talk about that, because you don't get that every day here.
Yeah, no, that was so random and so cool. That was my first year at Canisius, transferred in, and they're like, Martin's like, yeah, we're gonna he told me on my recruiting trip with my mom and my brother there, yeah, we're gonna try to do a Canadian game. I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. And I grew up obviously in the Durham area, like Oshawa. I played Oshawa Blue Knights. We played at the Civic. You do all Canada games, like the summer recruiting tour for high school kids at the Civic. My house was literally 7 minutes away from it. Like, so I grew up there. And then he goes, yeah, I think they're in the fall. He's like, yeah, we're going to play against Vermont at the Civic.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God. I told my mom, my parents, but I told my mom, and she was absolutely like ecstatic. We actually ended up staying at the hotel that I'd never ever stayed at before until that day. It was like around the corner from my parents. Never stayed there. Obviously didn't need to. We drove down on the bus. My mom and dad had the whole team over. They cooked them dinner. My mom cooked dinner for 45 of us, 50 of us, whatever it was. And then we played Vermont, and we won. And a bunch of friends and family there. It was pretty cool. I don't think they've played a game in Canada since, to be honest. But
nope, they haven't.
Yeah.
They
so
should.
Random.
They should, because now with Kufla being as good as it is, I think it would really be so well received that they should try that again.
Yeah, I agree. Again, it was so random though.
Now we go into the NLL, and you're selected first round, 11th overall by San Diego. A kid from Curtis, and now you're in San Diego. Talk about a culture shock, an absolute culture shock. My favorite question to ask is this: is your very first training camp, was it what you expected?
Yeah, I would say mine was expected. I think our first training camp, it was like a 5-dayer. Like it was 2 days, the first 3 days. Like I think we flew on like a Wednesday, got out of there Sunday. I actually ended up staying in San Diego. Well, I lived in San Diego my first year, but so I didn't have to fly home. But we moved into our house, like some of the rookies, and but yeah, it was hard. Like Patty's all like, he's good with his fitness. Patty Merrill, like good with the fitness. Like we got up and down. He's all about the compete. Like it was a bagger for sure. Like they weeded you out. Like they told us to come ready, prepared to be, in shape and condition, and there was no joke about that. So it did live up to hype. I thought maybe there'd be like more like workout stuff, maybe testing like bench press and squats, things like that. Like maybe your 40-yard dash, but there's none of that. So that might have been the only maybe thing I wasn't that I was expecting that didn't happen.
Right.
But other than everything else, no, it was lived up to the hype.
Right. How about the speed? Everybody talks about, going from junior into the NLL, and the speed is so much quicker. How did you
Yeah.
overcome some of the challenges you had over there?
Yeah, well, even junior to senior is a speed difference, because I did play 1 year as senior before getting drafted, and then you go from senior to NLL, and it's another step above. I don't like It's a fast paced game. It's built for offense, NLL more so than senior. Bigger net, smaller goalie stick.
Mm-hmm.
You get the TV timeouts, so you get a nice little break. You get the AC in the arenas, right? Like, you're not scorching hot like you are in summer ball. Like, you should be good to go. The legs are always ready to go. It was a big difference. And then, like, again, the defense are so smart, and like they talk so much. They're the offensive players are so big and strong. Like, you got to set picks. Like, you're setting picks on guys like Priolo and Paul Dawson, and it's a big change. I think that's the fun part, though, because it's competitive. It's a competition. Like, it's a challenge, which makes it fun, and you got to earn everything you get in the NLL. Like, scoring a goal in the NLL is no joke. So it kind of make you appreciate it.
Right. You had a couple of seasons in San Diego. You moved over to New York, and it's more like the resurrection where we actually see the Connor Kearnan that we're gonna that we see today. What was the thing that breathed this life into your career, coming from San Diego all of a sudden to the New York Riptide?
Yeah, it's just different styles, different mindsets. Not necessarily mindsets, but different I don't know, vibes. In San Diego, Patty's very intense. He's a very good coach. Shooter was a great coach as well. Again, very intense. That lineup we had a stacked lineup on O. Like, it was hard to break in and be an impactful player. I think going to New York, it was awesome. Obviously, I'm glad it happened. It's you get to play with guy like Jeff Teat, getting to play with now Riley O'Connor. I played with in junior, like two like the best players that there are. I think it makes a big difference. But I think the biggest thing for me was I was allowed to be like loose. I had Laddie as a coach in junior as well. He was the assistant coach with Coach K. Laddie knew who I was, and like, it's not necessarily like not being unfocused or dick around all the time, but it's like, again, I like to have fun. I like to chirp. I like to be laughing. I like to be smiling. I can't play tight and like super tense all the time. I need to have fun with it. And Laddie was all for it and really encouraged it. And then you put throw Crosby into the mix, my O coach, who I had who's head coach for Brooklyn at the time, and then he was the O coach in New York. Like, and if you know Crosby, like, he's a fun-loving guy as well. Likes to have fun, and he's very, very, very smart, knows his stuff. So that was I think the biggest change for me. It's just getting to be free and have some fun with it, and not be super tight, intense, and all that. So it's the same thing as like the Mearnsey action when I transferred in, right? Just allowing me to be, whether you either hate me or you love me kind of thing, and because I'm pretty loud and can be definitely in your face, but again, I like to have fun with it.
Absolutely. Now, you being a righty, you get the benefit of having Teat on the left side and doing what he does, which is just, I remember having a few guys on there saying they like to come out to warm-ups early, not because they like warm-ups, but they just love watching him pick corners 50 times in a row, and just to marvel at what he can do. You being on the other side, get a chance to be the recipient of a lot of Teat moves and passes. Talk about playing with him and the cerebral part of the game that you guys have gotten to, because you guys are on the same wavelength. You guys work really well together.
Yeah, no, thank you, but yeah, he's awesome. Like, he's a one of a kind player. Obviously, I was part of, like, when I got the call when I got traded from San Diego to New York. I got the call from Shooter, and I had Shooter mentioning, like, like, you're gonna have, like, this would be really good for your career. Like, I really like your game. I hate to see you go. Like, I really like Kearney. But I think Teeter will be fantastic for your, style play. And for that was like off ball, being in the middle, catching passes, having the ball in my stick for a split second kind of thing. And he said that to me, and I was like, yeah, I was obviously very excited. Obviously, everyone knows who Jeff Teat was. And then showing up to camp, and it was like, honestly, it wasn't like no word of a lie. It was, if you get open, he's hitting you. And, like, you put all that work in, like, not just myself, guys in general, like, it's hard to get open in the league. And when you are getting open, you want that ball. And it's not like he sees the floor so well, and it's awesome. It's been great. And then obviously him and I we've become really good buddies off the floor as well. I think that probably plays a factor into our maybe our chemistry a bit. Again, I don't know. Big Teeter is he comes off very serious and and he is very serious, but he likes to have fun as well, for sure. And I think when we're together, we definitely have our fun and keep it lightheaded and stuff like that. But yeah, we're always kind of talking to each other. We play Xbox, like when we're in between games on the weekend, we play an Xbox together. Me, him, my brother, Borgatti, right? Like we're always yapping to each other. We have our own little group chat where we kind of treat each other, say each other funny stuff. So no, I think just being on the same wavelength, having chemistry is huge. And then you go and throw a guy in like Ocon too, like makes like Ocon's one of the smartest players I know in the game. And I mean, I think Teeter will probably be one of the first ones to tell you that as well. So you get, and he's a great feeder. So you get Ocon and Teeter feeding me on the right side. It's a match made in heaven. I love it. Wish I scored a bit more last year, but there's always next year now. So we're focusing on. But no, it's dream come true playing with them. I like to make the joke. I always tell this every time someone asks, but think of Chris Kunitz and Sidney Crosby circa 2014. Chris Crosby kind of made Kunitz's career there, so Teeter kind of revived my career. So I like to make that joke.
I love it. Being a Penguins fan, I really love it. But that being said, what do you think was the big thing? Because I watched New York over the years, and they had some great teams, and it just didn't click for some reason. You put your finger on why it didn't work? Because it just, on paper, it was great. And at times, you guys looked like you really were something great was about to happen. And just for one reason or another, just didn't click there.
Yeah, I think we're still trying to figure that out. Honestly, like, I think at times, like, our defense shines and then our offense takes a back seat. Like, I don't think we're ever on, I think part of the problem is we've never been on, like, the same page at the same time. Like, we'll go, like, we lose to San Diego 6-5. You get 6 goals scored against you in an NLL game, but you need to win that game. Right. Or then we I don't know, it was last year, year before, we lose to Buffalo 18-17 in OT. It's like, okay, you scored 17 goals, like that needs to be a game you win. So it's been like it's just a juggling act. I don't know. I think again, management, coaching staff, the players, we're all trying to figure out the right kind of mix of how to bring that all together and have it all be on the same page all at once. We're getting closer and closer. Again, each year, I think the last 2 years we've been out by one game, and it sucks. Not making the playoffs yet. I think it's been 4 years since I've been with this franchise, like New York and Ottawa. It's definitely frustrating, and it's definitely not from lack of trying. We're doing everything we can. And again, it's just the league is funny, and you can't take any breaks or lulls or allow runs to happen, or you have to minimize the runs. Runs will happen, I guess, but it's how you minimize them and how you counteract that with your own run. So trying to figure out those details. I don't have a exact answer for you, unfortunately. If we did, we'd be playoffs.
Going into Ottawa, let's talk about the move, because you hit the ground running there. And I remember talking with Rich Lisk about it, and it's like the team saves a fortune trying to send you guys over to New York and everything. Here, most of you guys can drive over into Ottawa, but it seems right away you're able to click with the fan base. The first game was memorable. You guys are just stomping on Toronto, but you added guys like Jacob Dunbar to it as well, so you had that much more of an offensive force that were ready to go right away. And the team looked like, and of course we talked about off air with Zach Higgins, and having him in net was just absolutely fantastic. And there's so many games that he was just stellar. So the team was right there. I think again you're on the cusp of something really great.
Yeah. No, I agree. Sorry. Sorry. What's the question in there?
It's about hitting into Ottawa and your initial move, and you clicked in with the fan base, and the team, right away became really strong, and the fan base was able to gravitate with it.
Yeah. No, I mean, right away that even given the short turnaround time we had, I think we announced it like before the Montreal game, before that commercial we did for Slapshot. So
Yeah.
I don't know, that was March or February.
February.
But that's when we found out, and that's when they started doing the whole rebuild. So you have less than, I don't know, what is that, 8 months,
Mhm.
9 months, like you have to build the franchise, build a fan base up, while still providing for New York and their fan base in that time, as as small as it may have been. So I'm just pretty impressed and happy with the turnout we were getting per game, especially that
Yeah.
first game, and just the support we had from the community in general. And it's funny. I think it might have been the first game, maybe the second game of the year. I was with my roommate Borgatti. We went to go get a Pedialyte from Shoppers. So like I live in Kingston. I think he flew or trained in, but I live in Kingston. So I'm 2 hours away. So I drove, had my car there. So him and I popped in on game day to go get a Pedialyte, and we're wearing Black Bear stuff, obviously, like our sweatpants, whatever. And we were actually stopped and like, oh hey, like you guys play for them or? And we're like, oh yeah, we do. And like, oh we like, oh we're so excited for them. Like that happened twice on the first night out or first day out. I'm like, oh wow, okay, that's pretty cool. Like you didn't get that in New York. So it was pretty cool that again, first or second game of the year. And then people were kind of taking notice to like the logo and that kind of stuff, which is pretty awesome. Then again, the travel's super easy for everybody. The fans took to us, I think, this year with another full year and off season to kind of get prepared for it. And with the Senators doing better as well, like that plays a part into it too. I think we should have even more fans this year. I think we're probably gonna be looking around 9K a game, which is fantastic for the growth because I think we averaged just under 6 last year, maybe just over 6. So yeah, I think I like the idea of lacrosse in Ottawa. I think it's on a right trajectory for sure.
Right, and they were engaged too because they were loud.
Yeah, that was the one thing. Like maybe not a full packed house, and especially like we did most of the lower bowl was pretty packed. The arena's weird because I think the upper bowl holds 12 or 13K alone. Like the arena is huge; it holds 21,000, I think. That lower bowl is definitely loud. You do notice it out there, which we couldn't believe it, to be honest, compared when we come from New York.
Right, sure, of course. Or come as your favorite empty seat night at times, but
Yeah.
Was it the last little bit in New York though? Because after the deal was mentioned and made public, you still had the fan base there who must have felt shunned. Did it get awkward, or was it just roll with the punches? And
I mean, not from a player perspective, I don't think. You have your super fans and the fans that are loyal, and they even the ones that knew we were leaving, they still wanted to come out and support. Again, they just loved the team. They loved us as players, as people. They like the lacrosse aspect of it. Like so, those guys they came out, like, and they honored and took in what they had left of us. I guess I should say before we were going to be taking off. I'm sure some folks are definitely upset and annoyed. I mean, how many times have they tried lacrosse now in New York and it just hasn't worked out, unfortunately? And we don't know why. I don't know if it's more marketing. I don't know. Again, that's not my department, not the players' department. We don't know why. Because the lacrosse is a hotbed, I believe, in New York. We thought it was. So that's why we were all pretty excited when New York were brought in. But no, I think again the fans that they get it. Like you go to a game, you see like there's no way to keep up with it. Unfortunately, I think I recall like when they're looking at other venues. I think when we're trying to stay in New York, I think like is it Barclays where the Islanders play now? I think they wanted like almost $500,000 a night to be there to play, and when you're getting, two, maybe on paper, I think it was 2,000, but I don't think it was 2,000 in the stands.
Right.
That's not going to cover it.
Yeah, that doesn't work at all.
So like we did everything. I think management exhausted every option they could to stay in New York. And again, like the Coliseum, I think it's getting torn down to be a casino resort. So it just wasn't feasible, to be honest.
Right. All right. Let's pivot on over to MSL since you're in the playoffs now. Gavin Proud a couple of years ago made it his point to bring back alumni, to try and bring back some of the greatness of the Brooklyn squad from the Redmond years. Talk about first of all, playing for Gavin and the Redmond, or the lacrosse club, or whatever you want to call it right now, and just the sheer the want and to bring it back to glory.
Yeah, it's the big push. It's obviously we lost the name and whatever. I understand why, but I think again the history in Brooklyn lacrosse is massive. Crowder is obviously he's one of the greats. Played for Brooklyn. Great in the NLL Hall of Famer. He's awesome. He's doing everything. He's GM now, obviously, so he's doing everything he can to make it what it used to be, which was again a very proud, historic franchise. And not saying that we never got away from that, but it definitely got put. It feels like it got put in the back burner. I'm sure to some.
Right.
Also, unfortunately, summer ball, and I don't think it's any surprise. It's especially with the NLL, like you get hurt, like the pay's not there. Some teams obviously pay more than others, as everyone's aware. So that plays a huge factor too. And it's like Brooklyn on paper every year. If we, if everyone was getting paid an adequate salary, like we would be one of the best teams, if not the best team on paper. Every single year. But again, it's a lot of risk putting your body on the line. And, if you get hurt, and I've had a few buddies that I know in recent years that have gotten hurt and, you don't get compensated. You're out for NLL season. The NLL, like, you're not getting to pay for your own physio. There's no insurance, all of that. So that all has a part in it for sure. So Trotter has been doing a fantastic job at trying to slowly bring that back in whatever way he's doing that. That's, behind closed doors, but it's definitely getting there, and it also just getting guys that want to be there, right? Like I think summer ball takes a backseat to NLL, and I get it again to do the salaries, due to the time commitment, you're playing in the middle of the week after working an 8-hour day,
right?
You're a blue collar guy, you're working, slinging around rocks and construction, and then next thing you know, you got a game in the scorching heat in summertime.
Yep.
Playing in front of no fans and not really getting a paycheck. I get it. So Crowder's, he bleeds the red through and through, and I love it. And he's a big reason why, myself and a couple other guys that stay and play and want to be there. We want to see Brooklyn be great again. I grew up watching them compete for Mans every year, and there's nothing more I want than to win a Man, especially with playing alongside my brother, a couple of childhood best friends. That's the goal, and it's an uphill battle for us specifically in Brooklyn, just because again, outside circumstances.
Sure.
But the guys that are playing want to be there, and I think that's the key part, honestly.
Right. Now, me personally, I remember many of the years. Sorry, Frank, about the air conditioning not being there. Now we got air conditioning. You've got the Riptide turf down too. To me, it's still a little getting my eyes getting used to having turf there. What's it like having the turf on the floor there now?
Oh, it's huge. Especially when we play tomorrow night game too, because the provincials are going on. So when you get the provincials, I don't think people realize it, obviously, but we're not playing it. When recent years, we're playing playoffs always fall on this weekend, a long weekend and stuff like that, and the provincials. So we go in and you've had kids playing since 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. in the morning. It's hot. It's 30 plus degrees out. There's the Humidex, and then you get to play at 8 o'clock. The room's you can't breathe out there. Literally fighting for your life on the bench.
Right.
So this makes a huge difference. We've gotten this turf. Even this year, it's still hot without a doubt. But being able to turn the AC on without the floor sweating is huge. You definitely notice it. As far as I wish it was colder, personally. I run hot, but it's been massive, and thankfully we have it for tomorrow, because again I think tomorrow's 30 degrees straight sun, and the humidity is 40 or something like that. So it's gonna be a hot one.
Definitely. Frank?
I was just going to ask, as far as the part that gives you confidence that the support that you're looking for in Brooklyn, what gives you the confidence that you think it'll work? Like, if you and the boys didn't think it would work, you wouldn't do it. So there's obviously something that convinces you. Is it just the history, or is there more to it?
Well, history for sure. Prouder with him and his name. Again, everyone knows who Gavin Proud is. Like, again, one of the best to do it. He's doing everything he can to just bring, alumni back, like what Gary mentioned, and, finding ways to bring in, I don't know if they're investors or not, whatever it might be, but bringing in more like sponsorships and things like that, so that like the team doesn't make a profit. Obviously, like I think it's a nonprofit kind of organization and run by the community. Technically, like the community owns it.
Right.
But I think he just, like, again, the amount of pride and history he has with the team, he's doing everything he can, and he's doing it. So that, I think that's what gives us a little bit of hope and belief. And again, a lot of us are, for the most part, local boys too that grew up watching it, and now we're getting the chance to play. And even with some of these guys that should be playing that aren't, like, you're giving other kids opportunities to play, kids that want to be there and play. I think that's the biggest key for us. So
Two things are working at the same time. You trust
exactly
the people in Brooklyn to take it back, to be back there again, and trust the guy that's trying to get them there. So that there's a lot of trust involved. And how much of that trust is based on the fact that you love the game so much?
I think that has to do with probably 95% of it. Again, summer ball, even like the teams that do, besides maybe one team, like you're not making a living off of it. Like, you're doing it because you want to be there, you love it. And then for the teams that that aren't on the higher end of of things, and you want to be there. I love playing the game. It's, again, my excuse to get out and get away from work, get away from responsibilities at the house. Like, I get to go have some fun, play with my childhood buddies. Like, that's what I look forward to. I think that's the biggest thing.
So you want to keep it alive, basically,
Oh.
that way of life that you have.
100%.
You're motivated. Probably a lot.
I want to win a Man Cup with Brooklyn. That is the ultimate goal. Like, I couldn't imagine a better feeling than winning, especially this year. And the group of guys, again, when you go David versus Goliath, we get through. Peterborough already is a Goliath. You get through them, then you go to Nash, you beat them, right? Speaking hypothetically, then you win that. Like, do you imagine just that feeling with that group of guys, just wanting it, just wanting to be there? I think that's the big driver, at least for me. I don't know. I can't speak for everybody, but
Probably something else that has to do with it is just those two words that are together, Red Man, kind of does it too, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
It means something, right? We all know there's a lot of hotbeds in lacrosse, and all you have to do is say, you don't have to say the city or the town the team plays in. You just have to mention their nickname, and everybody knows who they are.
100%.
And the Redman is one of those.
Yep. Again, we're not named anymore, but you still know who we are.
Absolutely. Let's talk about your coaching. How did you get involved, first off, in coaching? And then how did you wind up at Queens?
Yeah, I mean, I've always loved coaching. My brother's 3 years younger, so like, I'd always be asked to go on the floor and help out his teams in minor. I think that's probably where it started. I started coaching Edge after I came back. Through college. I was come back in the summer, coach Edge Lacrosse. Some of the kids now, which is crazy to think about, are now play for Team Canada, about to graduate from junior, get drafted. It's just absolutely insane going to colleges.
Mm-hmm.
So I started there, and then doing Edge camps, summer camps, doing Edge practices, and then from there I was asked, like, when Sean Williams was the head coach for Warriors, him and I had a great relationship. He coached me last year. My last year junior, and then he had asked me to coach bubble year and the year after, but the bubble year 21 asked me to be the O coach for Warriors, which I was ecstatic. Again, something I never thought I'd be able to say I did or do, to be the assistant coach with Whippy Warriors Junior A. So I thought that was awesome. I was asked to come back the year they they won the Minto 2022, but I just moved to Kingston, so I unfortunately had to decline. And they ended up winning the Minto, so it was one of those bittersweet moments. But love just seeing the Warriors obviously succeed and be great. And then I moved to Kingston in January 2022. I think by like March or April, I've been going to workouts at a local gym, and then she'd post them. And someone from my high school, a girl who played for Queens women's lacrosse, saw that I was living in Kingston, told her coach, and the coach told I guess the AD or whatever. And next thing you know, I had a call, and they were asking me to be the head coach for Queens if I'd be. Well, I had to formally do an interview, but they basically asked me to be the head coach within like months of me being there. Again, that's something I never thought I would. Not something I was looking for by any means. But I was like, yeah, that's awesome. They were happy with my kind of background, obviously my knowledge of the game, things like that. So I said, yeah, sure. I laid out a plan for them, kind of what we were expecting to do, what I wanted to do with the team, how I wanted it to kind of be treated as. I wanted to be kind of like similar to an NCAA D1, and how I treat the fellas on the team. Again, I like to keep things lightheaded, so it's almost like a Coach Murns kind of action. I don't do anything to them that I didn't experience throughout my college career. So there's that as well. So they know, like, again, like the practice plans, the drills, the running we do, the way I interact with them. Nothing that was different from me, because it's something that I appreciated and understood and all of that. So that's kind of how I'm basing it all off. And it's been an absolute blast. And I mean, we made it to the finals last year in year 3 from a team that was not expected to be very good year over year. So yeah, and I think this year we had a phenomenal chance of making a run for the championship. I think last year we weren't even expected to be in that conversation, but the guys bought in, and my brother helps coach as well, and we really did put a plan in place, and it's not kudos to us, it's kudos to the guys, because these guys are like, they're paying to play lacrosse, and they're paying to travel, they're paying all themselves because, again, they want to, they want to play the game, they want to be doing it, and they don't have to listen to us, but they bought into everything we said. So it was a pleasure, and again, I hope this is the year we're going to win it.
Right. Now, we brought up Brady a few times throughout our conversation here, and you guys have a unique relationship because you don't have the sibling rivalry that most brothers have. You guys are there for each other a lot, and even when I was in Prague with Brady, he would talk as associates with you, as opposed to, yeah, I could beat him in this, and I could, the usual brother thing. Having him there as an assistant coach, how much is that helping towards?
So I'm glad you don't think there's a rivalry there, because we must do a pretty good job hiding it, because we bicker like no other. There's always been that rivalry, but for sure, like at the end of the day, like as corny as it sounds, that's like Brady and I are like we're each other's best friends. Like he's with his friend group, like he hangs out with me and my friend group, I hang with him and his friend group. Like him and I are always together. We're very, very close in that aspect. I think that comes down from my parents kind of instilling that in us. Right. But don't get it twisted. There's definitely rivalry, right? We definitely battle with each other. We go at it, but again, we're both each other's biggest supporters, biggest cheerleaders. I want to see nothing but success for him, and I think he wants the same for me. So it does help when it comes to coaching and being together. Again, I love playing with him, and then coaching though, he took on a job that he's not a D guy, and I asked him to be the D coach because our D coach, the one I had previously, had left to go to. He moved to North Carolina with his wife from Queens, and I didn't have a D coach, and he's like, okay, I'll come coach. I want to coach the O, and I said, no, I'm coaching the O. I don't know anything about D. He's like, neither do I. I'm like, yeah, but you like. Brady takes a strong interest in the things around this nature. Like he'll go out of his way to learn it and do all his homework. And I just can't coach D. Like he likes playing D. I hate playing D. If I get caught back there, I'm trying to get off or go for a breakaway. He likes playing D. So that was part of it. But no, he's been awesome. We bicker on the bench too. Maybe it's low key. We don't think it's low key, but maybe it must be low key. But we both snapped each other on the bench before. Like we're both passionate. We're both same kind of person. But
right.
No. At the end of the day, we want nothing but the best for each other.
Right. you're notorious for your workouts. And I know that Brady's tried to keep up with it, and he's had some trouble with some of them. But talk about the workload that you put on yourself to be in the shape that you are.
Yeah. I might have to clip that bit. I might take that from you because I want to send it to all my buddies because they let me know that I'm not in shape. But I don't know. If you like, COVID did a number on me. Even going my first year of my rookie year, like I was definitely slower, definitely fatter. And then COVID put an absolute number on me. I think it did a number on a bunch of people. When you're locked up and all you do is playing Xbox and drinking beers. That was my life. And then honestly, I got traded to New York and it was like an eye opener. So then working out, I wouldn't even say, I'm definitely in better shape. I can definitely move a lot better now. I'm still not probably where I want to be at all, but from where I was is great. For me, it's just been about trying to be moving. So I keep getting more and more in shape. I would say, like in terms being able to run and my conditioning, my weight's pretty much stayed around the same. I do just enough working out to still be functional in lacrosse and be at where I want to be for lacrosse, and also be able to enjoy my beers and my snacks, right?
Yeah.
So that's the real big reason. Is I let everyone know that, but I'll take that away and let the guys know like everyone thinks I'm fit now or I'm in shape.
The one thing that came across in somewhere where I listened to you was I think it's your 10 or your 15 first initial feet running. You are quick, which is what you need from where you are. Because when you're going to pass from tee, you only need those 10 to try and outdo your defender, and that's the difference between scoring and not.
Yeah, I think guys were saying I had the quickest 10-yard in the East, something like that. I don't know. I made it up, but I think it's true. 10 yards is all I need. After 10 yards, you can have the win. I'll give it to you. But just give me 10 yards. And I don't even know if that's still true, but I'll take it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We've had Brady in Prague. Do we have a Connor Kearnan showing, do you think, at some point for the Gales?
Yeah, I mean, we were the year before, not passing, but last season, we didn't know. I think we had to beat Albany, and then we didn't beat Albany. Then we were kind of waiting around score watching. I played Glasgow Clydesiders before for like the Lax night, and that used to be in Onondaga.
Yeah.
Or Syracuse. They had asked me to play for them, and they were going to fly me out, and it was just like too short notice of work. Then this year, same thing. I always went and played with Brady after we got beat out with the Gales.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's hard to plan because if we're in playoffs, I'm not missing any lacrosse. And if I guess the only case if I'm again going to play till I'm in the NLL till I'm 40, hopefully, that's the goal. But if maybe my team's for sure not in playoffs, like 100% not in playoffs, the month leading up might be a possibility. But other than that, it's kind of it's not really a thought at all, to be honest.
Right. I love it.
I know. It looks like a blast. I saw pictures from Brady, probably stuff that we can't discuss, but it looks like an absolute riot.
It is. And he probably had the greatest description of it. You're walking down a street in a neighborhood, and you're expecting a complex, but there's a rink in the middle of a neighborhood, and people are walking their dogs, and people are going to school, and you walk in, and there's thousands of people in this place, and it's just insane. And it doesn't matter rain, shine. Remember the next time a floor sweats, and you were playing torrential downpours where you have a half inch of water in your stick as you're trying to. Just insane. I watch refs take their helmets off so they can see because there's so much rain coming down.
I know, it looks incredible. I would love to do it again. If I'm retired from the NLL, it'll be something that's a thought every year, pretty much. But until then,
yeah, definitely. What's your advice for some of the younger kids? Excuse me, some of the younger kids coming into the game and serious about trying to make it to the upper levels?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is one, being a sponge, but two, absolutely loving the game. Like again, the NLL and lacrosse in general, when you get to the higher levels, like senior ball and NLL, like it's not for the faint of heart. Like it's a lot of travel. It's a lot of it's a lot of work, to be honest. You're traveling on weekends, especially if family and kids. But when you get to that point, but like traveling every weekend, flying again. If you're flying out west, and you're an Eastern guy, like you're flying out west, 5.5 hour flight to San Diego, 4.5 hour flight home. That's 10 hours a weekend on flights. You play, you basically hop back on the flight. Like you're practicing during the week. You have your workouts, team challenges, and MSL happens or summer ball happens, and then you have you're working, and you got to literally leave work early or leave right from work, drive right to the game, hop in your gear, and play. Like if you don't love it, I don't think it's like it's not for you. You need to purely love the game of lacrosse and want to be doing it, um, for it to be the biggest thing. So for me, that's it. Like again, like I have off time at work. I'm on YouTube watching lacrosse highlights. I have off time on Huddle watching old lacrosse games of us playing. Um, Thinking about lacrosse while I'm driving. Like that's like it's. I'm not saying everyone's like that, but that's for me. That's the advice I'd give. The second it stops not being fun, or you're not loving it, then
Right.
it's a chore.
Sure. Well, I should let you in on our YouTube page at All Lacrosse all the time. I was lucky enough over the COVID years to inherit Bill Fox's collection, VHS
No, I'm
tape.
on it. I've been
So
on it.
I've got all of his old Mill games and all of his old NLL games. And over the last couple of years, I've been converting them into it and putting it up there. So there's about 40 games up there now. I probably have another 50, 60 tapes that I have to convert. But if you're looking for old Mill, Eagle, or old early NLL games, they're there.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I've been on that page. Trust me. I've been all over lacrosse YouTube, lacrosse Instagram, lacrosse Twitter, you name it.
Awesome. Now,
Lacrosse junkie.
with the Olympics coming up in a couple of years' time, your thoughts on sixes?
I've never played sixes, so I can't honestly speak. But I think I would love to see box lacrosse or field lacrosse, either or, be the sport of choice. Obviously, I get why it's not the case. I'm just happy to see lacrosse being in the Olympics. I'm going to be happy to see my buddies playing in the Olympics. I think it's going to be a great experience. I can't speak to the game of the sixes. Again, it's fast paced. It almost reminds me of maybe six in a way. Like no face off. You just pull out of the cage and continue on. Like
Kind of like
it's
shinny
different
for
for me.
lacrosse, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Like it's different. I haven't played it competitively. I haven't played it in general, but if I have maybe playing competitively is a bit different. But just seeing lacrosse at that stage is gonna be pretty awesome. Again, seeing buddies in the Olympics that is pretty cool.
Yeah. Do you think that's the takeoff point? Because we're about floor 3 or 4 right now, and thank goodness we've made it that high. But do you think this is after 280 more countries see it? That's where we hit the goals that we're trying to strive for?
I think so. I think again the Olympics is such a huge stage. Teams are going to be looking to, or countries are going to be looking to add more sports to their roster, and I think it can only be positive. I don't think anything negative is going to come from it. No, I besides maybe like six is taking over the world versus box or field. That'd be the only thing I could think of. But either way, it's a great thing for the sport to
Right.
get six advance.
One other question for you to deal with the NLL. Do you think they're missing the boat with the not having an All-Star game?
I don't know. I went to a couple All-Star games as a kid growing up. I thought it was awesome. I remember seeing Steinhaus crank around with his orange shoes, putting up 9 goals between the legs. I thought that was pretty cool. I think it's hard. Like again, the scheduling is so tough. It's so compact as it is. I think back then they were playing 12 games a year or something like that, maybe 14. Now we're at 18, which it doesn't seem that much. But when you break it down, it's a weekend sport. It's a lot. Like I think we only had 2 or 3 bye weeks in total from whatever, and then even on our bye weeks, most teams are usually practicing.
Right.
I like the idea of it. It's just the functionality and the scheduling of it. It kind of becomes tough. But I would love to see it be brought back, or at least name all-star teams.
Well, I also had a little bit of a twist for it as a thought. Was you would have the NLL All-Stars, yes, as a team, and they would play the champion, and the champion would host it. So this year would be Buffalo, obviously, and it'll be in Bandit, which would give them a full year to market the game. So you're going to have a full house, but that way it doesn't become like an NBA or a pro football kind of All-Star game, which is 700 points and nobody really cares. the All-Stars are going to want to knock out Buffalo. Buffalo's not going to want to lose to the All-Stars, and there's going to be a little more meaning to the game. You're going to have a full house in whatever venue you're going to go to, and between that and the skills competitions, with ESPN and TSN as your guides, I think we have a home run.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great idea. It's a cool idea for sure. I think it just again becomes tough in terms of logistics and that being. Is it at the end of the season, obviously, or is it you're planning to do it like Buffalo just
I would
wants?
think it'd be a mid-season thing. I'd keep interest in February or something like that. But
Yes,
with the
I
bye
think
week,
that
if they were able to schedule one continuous bye week as opposed to having random ones all over the place, because you got some teams that have 3 weeks in a row, and so it's been weird scheduling the last few years. But if they can have one central one and then everything falls on either side.
Yeah, I like the idea of it. Again, it comes down to the logistics, and that would be a nightmare in terms of one, who's paying for that? Two, guys are in mid-season, and you're about to play. Like Buffalo has to now play an extra game as a team as a whole to have to, play an alternate. And they're gonna, like you said, they're not gonna want to lose. So they're gonna play full out. Someone gets hurt, all-star team or Buffalo. Like that's where maybe an end of the year thing. Buffalo won, and then a couple weeks later you do the All Star game versus Buffalo, let them celebrate, and then you play that. I like the idea that the thoughts there. It's just the logistics become a nightmare.
Yeah, because they again, with at the end of the year you have MSL, WLA, you have PLL, all of those things at the end of the year that are already chomping at the bit to get you guys there. So
yeah.
I think the only way to do it would be in the middle, but it's also to keep fans engaged through middle of the year, kind of, is there a point, and is this game really meaningful? Well, everything kind of culminates and then separates back into. But that's for someone with a higher IQ than me.
Well, when I brought this idea that Gary's talking about with some other lacrosse people, the thing it worked in the NHL, that's where I got it from. The NHL used to do it back in the day. You're both a little too young for it. Back in the 60s, they used to have that. That's what they used to do. And it used to be basically at the beginning of the year, almost like the preseason. And they start the year with them doing that. I think they thought that the guys wouldn't look at it as seriously as they might in the middle of the season once everything's really starting to roll, right? So it'd be more like, it would be for the fans, it would be a big deal. For the players, it would be let's play this like it's training camp. It's not time to kill each other, but we can show what we can do. And that's why I think that's why they did it at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, I mean, again, I love the idea of it. I think it's fantastic. It's just finding out what works best.
You can't create a game that's an all-star game today because the players are so expensive. Like an injury would be very, very costly. And remember, we're not talking about the guy on the third line or 12 deep in the lineup, right? You're talking about the top guys each team has. That's a lot of risk for very little for the team's reward. I just want to make that clear. Not the lacrosse fans, not the players, but the team's reward is nothing in this. There is no reward for them, really, unless it really does a good job of promoting the game, which ultimately does help the owners. But I don't think owners have enough patience to do a lot of things and wait for a return. They need the return immediately for the very reason you're talking about with Brooklyn and getting that team back going and getting them back into being able to play for the cup. It's all the same kettle of fish, right? It's all about, can you afford to invest enough to make it happen in front of it happening, right?
100%.
It's tough. It's a tough thing to make happen.
Well, I want to take the time to thank you, because I know in the middle of a playoff series, and you're up in the cottage trying to unwind before tomorrow night going back at it again in Brooklyn for game 2. I wish you all the best. Thank you so much for taking your time with us and doing the interview.
No, thank you guys. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me. This is a great chat. I'll always love talking lacrosse shop, so appreciate it.
No kidding. Got that impression. I think you love lacrosse. I think we established that.
Yep.
Yeah, I think you're number one if we had an all-star team for the best support for the game itself, you'd be up there top 3 for sure.
Oh, I'm glad. I'm glad to hear that.
And I appreciate your love of the game, and we really appreciate you being here.
No, thank you guys.
All right. Well, I guess for Gary Groob, I'm Candid Frank Stanisci, and we had ourselves Connor Kearnan here, and great lacrosse player, great enthusiast, and a lover of the game. And I know that a lot of you out there who haven't picked up a stick, give it a try. See if you like it. Thanks for watching, everybody. NLL Lacrosse Talk. Until next week.